Hello everyone. Today we are going to learn about a very famous poem written by Robert Lee Frost. Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening. This poem is written by Robert Frost in the year 1922 and it was published in the year 1923. Robert Lee Frost was an American poet. He was born on 26th of March in the year 1874. His work was published in England before it was published in his own country, America. He is renowned for his realistic depiction of rural life and his command of American colloquial speech. He is the only poet to receive 4 Pulitzer Prizes for his poetry. This poem describes a tranquil forest scene from the perspective of the poet who is riding his horse through the woods on a dark night. The first stanza suggests that the poet is in pensive mood and he considers his experience of getting to see a forest during winter as a privilege. In this stanza, we can see the poet is captivated by the beauty of the woods. So he stopped by the woods to enjoy the serene beauty of nature in solitude. Here, the poet states that he might know the owner of the woods. In the next moment, the poet reassures himself that since the owner lives in the village near the forest, he will not be able to see the poet standing and watching his forest, which is filled up with snow. In this stanza, the poet has used the figure of speech named alliteration. Alliteration is the repetition of consonant sounds. Now listen to these lines very carefully. He will not see me stopping here. In this sentence, see and stopping, in these two words, a sound is repeated. In the next line, to watch his woods filled up with snow, watch, woods and with, in these 3 words, W sound is repeated. So here we can see these are the examples of alliteration. Now moving on to the second stanza. In this stanza, the poet states that his horse would find it strange to stop in the middle of the woods as there is no farmhouse and they have not reached their stated destination yet. This stanza gives us a vivid description of the forest, as the poet has mentioned here that he is standing between the woods and frozen lake on the darkest evening in the year. In the line, my little horse must think it queer, the poet has given human qualities to the horse. So it is a personification. In the third stanza, the confused horse makes a little movement which shakes the bells attached to his harness to remind his master if he has committed any mistake. Here the poet deliberately emphasizes the sound of nature. Apart from the sound made by the bell, there is a sweeping sound which comes from the slight wind and softly falling snowflakes. In this stanza, we can see these lines. He gives his harness bells a shake to ask if there is some mistake. Here the poet states that the horse has the ability to ask. This one is also an example of personification. The fourth stanza is very important and it has got a very deep meaning. The poet is entranced by the darkness and deepness of the woods and he thinks they are lovely. Though the forest seems to be very attractive to the poet and he yearns to spend some more time to enjoy the magnificent beauty of the woods, he moves on because he has to keep his promises which he had made to his loved ones. And the last two lines, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep, are very symbolic. Here, sleep means death. Through these lines, he wants to convey that he has to perform his duties which he has promised to his loved ones before his death. The poet has also used some beautiful visual imageries to help us understand the setting of the poem better.